Hello everyone, and welcome back to our English learning channel. We are delighted to have you with us for another exciting lesson. If this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with your friends and family who are also learning English. We would also love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below and tell us where you are learning English from.
Remember, this channel is not only for IELTS learners, it is for anyone who wants to improve their English, become a more confident speaker, and develop stronger listening skills through natural, everyday conversations. Every lesson brings you one step closer to your goal. Keep practicing, stay patient, and never lose confidence. The more you listen, repeat, and speak, the more fluent you will become. Let's begin today's lesson.
Good morning. Excuse me, could you help me please? I'm hoping to travel by train this weekend, but I'm not very familiar with the railway system. I've only recently moved to the area, and I'd really appreciate some advice before I buy my ticket. I want to make sure I choose the right one because I don't travel by train very often, and I don't want to make any expensive mistakes.
Good morning. Of course, I'd be happy to help. Traveling by train can seem a little confusing at first because there are several ticket types and different travel times. But once you understand how it works, it's actually very convenient. Where are you planning to travel, and when would you like to leave?
I'd like to travel to Manchester this Saturday morning. I'm going there to visit one of my university friends. We haven't seen each other for nearly 2 years, so we're planning to spend the whole weekend together. I'd like to arrive before midday if possible, because we've already arranged to have lunch together in the city centre.
That sounds lovely. Saturdays are usually quite busy, especially during the morning, so it's a good idea to book your ticket in advance if you can. Do you know whether you'd like to buy a single ticket or a return ticket?
That's actually one of the things I wanted to ask you about. I think I'll be returning on Sunday evening, so I imagine a return ticket would be the better option. Is it normally cheaper than buying 2 separate single tickets?
Yes, in many cases it is. A return ticket is often more economical, especially if you're traveling back within a short period. There are also different kinds of return tickets. Some are flexible, which means you can return on almost any train during the valid period, while others are only valid on specific services. Flexible tickets usually cost a little more, but they give you greater freedom if your plans change.
I see. I hadn't realized there were so many choices. I suppose a flexible return ticket might be the safest option, because I'm not completely sure what time I'll be coming home on Sunday. My friend has mentioned that we might visit a museum before I leave, and I wouldn't want to rush just because my train was booked for a particular time.
That's a sensible way to think about it. Paying slightly more for flexibility can save you a great deal of stress later. However, if you're certain about your travel times, an advance ticket can be considerably cheaper. The only disadvantage is that you must travel on the exact train you've booked.
That makes perfect sense. I think I'd rather pay a little extra and have some flexibility. By the way, do I need to reserve a seat, or is that optional?
On many long-distance trains, you can reserve a seat free of charge when you buy your ticket. I would certainly recommend doing that, especially if you're traveling on a Saturday morning, because trains can become quite crowded. Having a reserved seat means you won't have to worry about standing for part of the journey or searching for somewhere to sit.
That sounds like a very good idea. The journey is about 2 hours, isn't it? I'd much rather sit comfortably, perhaps read a book, or listen to a podcast during the journey.
Yes, it's roughly 2 hours, depending on which service you choose. Some trains are direct, while others require you to change at another station. If you prefer a simpler journey, I would recommend taking a direct service, even if it's slightly more expensive.
I completely agree. Changing trains always makes me a little nervous, especially if I don't know the station very well. I'd rather have a straightforward journey and avoid any unnecessary complications.
That's understandable. Now, may I ask whether you have a rail card? If you're eligible for one, you could save quite a lot of money on your tickets throughout the year.
Actually, I don't have one. I've heard people talking about rail cards before, but I've never looked into them properly. Could you explain how they work?
Certainly. There are different rail cards for different groups of people. For example, there are rail cards for young adults, older people, couples, and even people who travel frequently in certain regions. Normally, a rail card gives you around 1/3 off many train fares. If you travel regularly, it often pays for itself after just a few journeys.
That sounds excellent. I think I should definitely consider getting one because I expect I'll be traveling more often over the next year. Not only would it save me money, but it might also encourage me to explore more cities around the country.
Exactly. Britain has an excellent railway network, and travelling by train is one of the easiest ways to discover new places. You can simply relax, enjoy the scenery, and avoid the stress of driving or finding parking spaces.
That's one of the reasons I wanted to travel by train. I enjoy looking out of the window and watching the countryside go by. It feels much more relaxing than sitting in traffic for hours.
I couldn't agree more. Many people choose trains for precisely that reason. They're comfortable, environmentally friendly, and often surprisingly convenient when travelling between major cities.
May I ask another question? If my train happens to be delayed, what should I do?
That's a very sensible question. If your train is delayed, you should first check the information boards or the railway app for updates. Station staff are usually available to help passengers, and if the delay is significant, you may even be entitled to compensation, depending on the circumstances and the railway company.
I didn't know that. It's reassuring to know there are procedures in place if something unexpected happens. Hopefully, everything will run smoothly, but it's always good to be prepared.
Absolutely. It's also worth arriving at the station about 20 or 30 minutes before your train departs. That gives you enough time to find the correct platform, buy a coffee if you like, and board the train without feeling rushed.
That's excellent advice. I always prefer arriving early rather than worrying about missing my train. I imagine stations can become very busy during weekends.
They certainly can, particularly during holiday periods. Giving yourself extra time makes the whole experience much more enjoyable.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to explain everything so clearly. I feel much more confident now, and I think I'll go ahead and buy a flexible return ticket with a seat reservation.
You're very welcome. I'm sure you'll have a wonderful weekend with your friend. Enjoy your journey, travel safely, and don't hesitate to ask the station staff if you need any further assistance. Have a fantastic trip.
Thanks again for all your help. Before I leave, could you tell me whether it's better to keep a printed ticket or use a digital ticket on my phone?
Either option is perfectly acceptable these days. Many passengers prefer digital tickets because they're convenient and environmentally friendly. However, if you're worried that your phone battery might run out, carrying a printed ticket can provide extra peace of mind. Personally, I always make sure my phone is fully charged before traveling.
That's very practical advice. I'll probably download the digital ticket and also take a screenshot, just in case I lose my internet connection while I'm traveling. It's always better to be prepared.
That's a sensible approach. Another useful tip is to listen carefully to station announcements. Occasionally, platforms change at the last minute, and those announcements can help you avoid unnecessary confusion.
I'll definitely remember that. Traveling seems much less intimidating now that you've explained everything. Before speaking to you, I thought buying a train ticket would be complicated. But now I understand the different ticket options, seat reservations, rail cards, and the importance of arriving early.
I'm very pleased to hear that. Once you've travelled a few times, you'll probably find the whole process quite straightforward. Like many things in life, confidence comes with experience.
That's true. I think this journey will help me become more independent, and perhaps next time I'll feel confident enough to plan a longer trip somewhere I've never visited before.
I'm sure you will. Every journey teaches you something new, whether it's learning how the railway system works, improving your planning skills, or simply enjoying conversations with new people along the way.
Well, I'd better go and buy my ticket now. Thank you once again for your kindness and for answering all my questions so patiently.
It was my pleasure. Have a wonderful weekend, enjoy your visit to Manchester, and have a safe journey.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye, and take care.
Thank you very much for joining us for today's English conversation practice. We hope you enjoyed listening to this natural British English dialogue and that you learned plenty of useful vocabulary, expressions, and sentence structures related to buying a train ticket. If you found this lesson helpful, please support the channel by subscribing, giving this video a like, and sharing it with anyone who wants to improve their English. Your support helps us create more high-quality lessons for learners around the world. Most importantly, we'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and tell us what new words, phrases, or expressions you learned in today's lesson. Did you discover something new about traveling by train? Which part of the conversation did you find most useful? Remember, this channel is for everyone who wants to become a more confident English speaker, not only IELTS candidates, but anyone who wants to improve their speaking, listening, vocabulary, and overall communication skills. Keep listening, keep practicing, and never stop believing in your progress. Every lesson brings you one step closer to fluency. We'll see you again in episode 12. Until then, take care, keep learning, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.